Weekly Wheaties 2350. Smartglasses, Tesla, Smartwatches, drive through history. To make our glasses smart or not. First off, Merry Christmas. To start this newsletter, I'd like to talk about one of my favorite presents ever. Back when I was in college, for the first time, my mom bought me a pair of Maui Jim sunglasses that I still have and use over 15 years later. This Christmas, one of my favorite people bought me a pair of sunglasses in my favorite color, orange, and this was a pair of Gooders, my new favorite brand. I've actually talked about before since they are such a great product and very reasonably priced. I try to keep a pair everywhere, so they're always handy. Back in Weekly Wheaties 2347, I talked about the line between smartwatches and smartphones. But there's another world of tech that's starting to blend together too, and that's glasses and AR or VR goggles. Maybe you've heard the terms AR and VR and are still confused. If so, no worries. We'll clear that up and talk about the importance of each. They are similar, with some distinct differences that are almost becoming outdated. Augmented reality, or AR, augments the reality around you. You can use AR with just about any smartphone, tablet, and even some glasses. When viewing something in AR, you are completely aware of your surroundings and others may even share in the tech. Typically, AR uses your camera and puts a filter or overlay of the reality from what is shown on the screen. I'm sure you've seen the example of one of the many apps doing this to show what furniture would look like in a given space. Of course, Amazon does this, as well as one of the most famous, IKEA. One of my favorite examples of this is an app that was one of the first in this space, Skyview. Not to mention the most basic of AR that arguably helped kick off this space, Google Glass. Virtual reality, or VR, puts the user in a new virtual space. It now becomes a new reality as you are unable to see anything other than what's on the screen. You are completely immersed in the new world and unaware of anything else around you. Typically, VR requires a separate device, or headset, that one user can connect to a phone, computer, or gaming console. Common devices are the MetaQuest, formerly known as Oculus, the HTC Vive, PlayStation VR, and more. There are also cardboard options that allow you to use your phone, but they will not provide quite the experience. They do work well to help get your feet wet and see if it's something you'd like to further pursue. Alternatively, this would even let you see if you may become uncomfortable using this new software and hardware combination. For a personal example, I can't use VR as I get headaches. There are many examples of how VR has made its way into the consumer market too. The devices mentioned above have very active groups developing video games. Some of the most popular or unique games include Beat Saber, Super Hot, and Walkabout Mini Golf, some of which you can play at your local Dave & Buster's bowling alley or video arcade. In some places across the US, there are places who have entire warehouses built for VR gaming experiences. Well, kind of. The cool thing here is all they need is a big open space with ease of walkability. If going the AR route, walls could be erected to provide more variation, as well as other boxes, stairs, and more. A great example of this is the zombie-style shooter in Texas. In more recent years, AR and VR have been blending as to allow the augmented world to become more personalized. I also believe VR will begin to dissipate as the blending becomes more obvious, mainly for safety concerns. Being able to see the room you're in allows you to be careful in how and where you move. This can be accomplished with new mixed reality options like Microsoft's HoloLens, Meta's Quest Pro, and Apple's Vision Pro. Each of these also have their limitations but can also allow 2 or more people to use them simultaneously, whether in the same physical space or not, and interact in the virtual world. The sky's the limit in regard to possibilities, and in the next few years or so, this technology will grow enough to bring the price down enough that any user who wishes can be involved. As with any form of technology, it always starts out higher priced until mass adoption begins to take place. The next question is, at what point will AR become so powerful while requiring the most minimal amount of technology to fit into a pair of glasses? Google tried a version of it years ago with Google Glass as mentioned above. More recently, Meta and Ray-Ban partnered to create smart glasses that take pictures and have audio. There's also a virtual assistant built in that can help with tons of other audible commands and responses. Eventually, they will blend enough to include other features of typical AR hardware devices and place an overlay on standard glass lens. If you have a decent pair of sunglasses now, you may have a polarized lens already. If you're colorblind, you can purchase a pair of Enchroma glasses that state to help the most common forms of color blindness. I say this to say the technology is already out there, it's just a matter of time before it becomes small enough and inexpensive enough to be placed in glasses for mass adoption and use. At what point will glasses, or some type of glasses, be the new norm for all to wear indoors or out, regardless if the user needs help with vision correction? In case you missed it, Tesla updates. In a battle for self-driving efforts, the California DMV reports 5.7 million miles were driven in 2022 by the 7 companies approved to operate there. A little over 5 million of those miles included a safety driver. This is an interestingly low number because Tesla touts their beta program has over 500 million miles driven, which is essentially the same software with a safety driver present. As more and more miles are driven with driverless technology, we've also seen a few companies go under or lose support. A headline that may sound scary from last week was listed as, Tesla recalls more than 2 million vehicles over autopilot safety concerns. However, the issue is not saying that the autopilot isn't necessarily safe. It's that the driver warning wasn't within the current regulations. There are tons of unique ways this happens, so bear with me for a basic explanation. If a driver has a Tesla in autopilot mode, which is simply lane keep assist and adaptive cruise control, something most manufacturers have nowadays, and hasn't touched the steering wheel in, say, 30 seconds, an alarm will go off. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration noted this time, or whatever feature that wasn't disclosed, wasn't good enough. An update has already been sent out to all vehicles too. In case you missed it, smartwatch updates. Starting on December 21st, Apple has removed the Apple Watch Series 9 and Ultra 2 from its physical and online stores. This is due to an import ban and patent infringement against Masimo's pulse oximeter features. Weirdly enough, maybe since I don't understand it that well, it appears the president has the power to veto the ruling and allow sales to continue. Otherwise, Apple cannot sell these watches until 2028. It doesn't appear that all other major retailers have pulled their listings, so if you're still looking for one, you may be in luck, at least until stock runs out. However, look for a slightly modified version of these watches to be released soon, minus the pulse oximeter. On the other end of the smartwatch spectrum, Google has released an update for the Pixel 7 to support the OG of smartwatches, the Pebble. Pick of the week, drive through history. Whatever your background, whatever your politics, whatever your religion, it's impossible to deny the significance of Jesus' birth and death. Join Dave Stotts with Drive Through History as he brings the viewer on a journey to the believed-to-be location of Jesus' birth through the hills of Bethlehem and many locations mentioned throughout the New Testament in the Bible, the actual birthplace of Jesus. Revealing secrets, who attended Jesus Christ's birth. The entire New Testament in 50 minutes. Check out other videos on his YouTube channel to explore the people, places, and events that shaped our world. Weekly Wheaties is a reader-supported publication. To receive new posts and support my work, consider becoming a free or paid subscriber. See links for the above items at weeklywheaties.com.